There's fewer things more exciting than when a bass explodes out of the water and smashes a topwater bait. And summertime can be some of the most exciting topwater fishing there is. We're all familiar with the most basic topwaters, from popper-style baits, hollow body frogs, buzz baits, and walking baits. But today, I'm gonna talk to you about an old school technique. It's probably been around longer than you and I have been on this planet, and that's prop-style baits. And in particular, we're gonna be using Bagley Baits Balsa Minnow Twin Spin. There's fewer techniques that are more effective at calling bass up from deep vertical structure or thick cover than a prop-style bait. I'm Travis Moran. Let's break down this technique, starting with rigging. First, let's talk a little bit about this bait. Bagley Baits has perfected the balsa wood lures. And then with this particular one, we have a wire line through. That means it's one wire that connects both these props, so you have a very solid bait. And now it's all about making that noise, getting the sound and getting the action that you need out of this bait to get those big strikes. So first, let's talk about line. 9 out of 10 times, I say use braided line when using topwater. But this one, you can vary from that a little bit. I'm using braid, as you can see. 30 to 60 pound braid works great, but if you want to switch it up to, say, like a fluorocarbon that sinks, you will actually change the sound, because that line will sink, and as you pull, it'll dig that bait down in the water a little bit, whoosh, whoosh, and you get a deeper bass sound that sometimes can be what you need to really call out those sluggish or lethargic bass and get them activated. So if that's what you need to do, by all means, switch it up on this one. Next is the rod. I like a moderate to moderate fast bend, like a crankbait style rod, because you don't want, if you have a stiff rod, you're just gonna drag this bait. It's not gonna allow those props to really spin. It's just gonna drag it through the water, and you really want a little bit of give so these blades can really churn, spit up water, create a lot of noise, create a lot of motion, create some strikes. Lastly is your reel. Because you can see this bait and you're pausing, the way you're retrieving it isn't that important. Just use your favorite bait casting reel to give you confidence. Let's move on to the next section and talk about retrieval. Okay, there's two things to consider when talking about retrieval. That's speed and sound. So when you make a cast, let's talk about the baseline, just the base retrieval on this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just give it a little twitch, pull that bait just a little bit. Pull, then let it pause. Pull, then let it pause. I'm moving it maybe 6 to 10 inches, okay? And what I wanna listen for is I wanna hear those props. It makes like, and then it spits up water. You wanna see that water getting spit up too. That's what's gonna trigger those strikes. Then you give it a little pause, do it again. Twitch, pause, okay? That's gonna be your most common retrieval. You can catch a lot of fish doing this, but if they are not reacting to that, you can switch it up a little bit. Figure out if they want it longer pauses. Sometimes they want a little harder pull, so you can move a little bit more water. They can hear that from further down, and then let a longer pause. Give it a hard pull, then longer pause. This works when you're around vertical structure. You know, a lot of these big trees that are back here, and those fish are a little bit deeper. As you make this cast and you make that sound, whoosh, those fish, they'll move up a little bit higher in the water column, and it pauses, and they sit, they hear it again, they move up, until bam, they blast it. But other times, you're fishing around a lot of cover hanging over, these trees hanging over the shoreline and stuff. Sometimes you need to work this bait fast. So you can go twitch, 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 pause, twitch, pause, twitch, 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 pause. And that will trigger those strikes. That will get those a little more sluggish, a little more hesitant bass to react quickly. The last little trick I like in retrieval is when I pause, sometimes I will continue reeling, okay? So twitch, 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 pause. Well, see, I'm still reeling that line in. Twitch, twitch, pause, still reeling, just a slow reel. What this does is it keeps those props turning. If that bait is just sitting there, there's no movement to it. But when it's paused and you're still reeling, just a slight little line in, that'll keep these props turning. So as a fish is coming up to hit it, it will see movement. It'll see the little flashes and stuff and think that's a bait fish just sitting there ready to get smashed. Little trick for you. Let's talk about where to throw this in location. So because this thing makes so much noise, it's great at calling fish out. And then the fact that you can pause it gives these fish time to react. So it works great over vertical cover where these fish, they may be suspended, they may be deep down there, and you can really work this bait you know, along some of these trees that are sticking up that are 30, 40 feet deep, you might have suspended bass, and when you can just work this bait, pause it, those fish, they'll slowly come up and they'll smash it. Same thing with steep bluffs. If you're fishing along these steep bluffs, sometimes those fish, they're not right up shallow, but if they hear commotion up top that isn't moving too fast, they'll eventually come up, take a look, and hit it. There we go. Yeah, little guy came off. But so vertical structure can be, or this bait can be fantastic around that vertical structure. But then next is thick cover. Whether you're fishing around, you know, lay down trees like I got in front of me, or grass that's down below the surface, it's a foot or 2 feet below the surface, this bait makes a lot of commotion, so those fish can hear it a long ways off, so they'll position themselves in a spot ready to ambush it when it comes by. It gets them on alert status, basically. So right here, we've got these huge trees that have fallen into the water, and I don't know where these bass are gonna be on this tree, and it's 30 feet deep below me here. So these trees are out in 30 feet. So these bass could be way down there. They could be in a lot of different places. And this is a hard type of cover to fish. But if you have a bait that makes a lot of noise and you can pause like this, you can give these fish time to come up. So every time I make that noise, I'm getting the attention. I'm saying, hey fish, come on up here. Come on up, look at this. There we go. Oh, he missed it. He missed it. And so that fish, I'm in clear water. These fish saw this bait from a long ways away, but it's gonna force them to eventually come up and take a bite out of it. All right, guys, prop baits like Bagley baits, balsa minnow twin spin, you need to add them to your arsenal of topwater baits. If you already are familiar with these, get back to using them. I know that these are kind of a forgotten technique, and it can be so rewarding if you know how to use this, if you put this in your arsenal and you break it out on the right situations when you need to call those fish out. You need to activate them, but you need to add a little bit of a pause. This is your meal ticket. I mean, come on, over to you guys. I'm Travis Moran. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like always, give me that thumbs up, subscribe to the Lucky Tackle Box YouTube channel, and check out LTB Live on the 5th of every single month, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time on the Lucky Tackle Box YouTube channel. Until next time, guys, I'll see you out on the water.